Course name Research and Publication Ethics. So, introduction to philosophy, meaning and origin. Philosophy means love of wisdom. In Greek, philos means love, sophia means wisdom, that is knowledge. It began with human curiosity, wonder, and the desire to understand the world, life, and existence. Philosophy is both a product of thought and process of thinking, that is philosophizing. Nature of philosophy. Philosophy is the mother of all sciences. It is a methodical and critical work of thought. It is the both an activity that is questioning, reasoning, and debating. A body of knowledge, established ideas, theories, and systems. Scope of philosophy explores the entire reality, not just a part. Takes a synaptic view of the universe, that is studies interrelations among all things, goes beyond the physical science to include values, purpose, mind, society, and ultimate truth. Comparison with other disciplines. Mathematics deals with numbers and figures. Physics means energy and radiation. Chemistry means properties of matter. Astronomy means heavenly bodies. Botany and zoology means that is study of plants and animals. Political science, that is the study of state and governance, that is administrations. Philosophy means that is the deals with the totality of human experience and the universe. Then we go for objectives and function. It seeks to understand existence and reality, interpret life and its values, clarify human experience, solve fundamental problems. It leads to creation of knowledge, society, and economy, helps contribute various domains of knowledge. Methods and tools like critical thinking, systematic reasoning, questioning assumption, debate and discussion, speculations, that is assumption, observation, and logical analysis, rejects blind belief, that is seeks rational justifications. Importance in human life. Philosophy helps to understand the meaning and purpose of life, explore the truth and values, build rational, open minded, and moral individuals. A better thinker leads to a better life. It is the central to philosophy. Next, human rationality and inquiry, that is question. Man is a rational animal. He seeks to understand his world. Philosophy starts from the man's desire to unfold the mystery of nature and reality, enables reflection and introspection, that is self-reflection on one's lives, choices and values. Key characteristics: frees from prejudice, that is bias, superstition, that is myth, and blind tradition. Encourage permanent consciousness and sustain attention. Aims for clarity of thought and depth of understanding. Branches of philosophy: metaphysics, reality and existence; epistemology, knowledge and belief; ethics, morality and values; logic, valid reasoning and argumentation; aesthetics, that is beauty and art; political philosophy, justice, law, rights, governance; philosophy of science, mind, language, specialized inquiries. Modern is traditional philosophy. Traditional focused on existence, souls, God, etc. Modern includes social issues, science, human rights, knowledge, protections, etc. Deals with the questions of causality, that is cause and effect, consciousness, justice, and evolutions. Philosophy and society influence public policy, ethics, and lawmaking, provides tools to analyze argument, check validity and fairness of decision, essential in understanding norms, moral judgments, and human behavior. Role of famous philosopher Socrates, who told advocate for examining life, critical self-reflection. Plato, knowledge is as essential to philosophy. Aristotle studied being as being. Immanuel Kant, philosophy as critique of cognition, that is thinking. Bertrand Russell, Logic and Scientific Foundation. Friedrich Paulson, Philosophy as Sum of All Scientific Knowledge. Role of arguments in philosophy moves from assertions, that is claims, to arguments. Each claim is analyzed, tested and justified. Encourage constant questioning and openness to new viewpoints. Educational values. Philosophy is an academic discipline aims to develop critical citizens, not just skilled professionals. Promotes intellectual development, reasoned judgment, and ethical awareness. Next, conclusion and essence. Philosophy is a liberating force, opens new horizons, that is, possibilities of knowledge, leads to intellectual growth, wisdom, and truth seeking, helps individuals like thoughtful, meaningful, and informed lives. Next, we go for origin and definition of philosophy. What is philosophy? A man is a philosopher when he thinks rationally, that is, thoughtfully, and seeks knowledge about the world. Philosophy is born from curiosity, wonder, and urge to understand reality. It is a methodical and reflective way of thinking that applies reason and logic to explore truth. Etymological meaning. The word philosophy is derived from Greek, that is, philos means love, sophia means wisdom. Thus, philosophy literally means love of wisdom. It is an intellectual endeavor, that is, serious, thoughtful, and purposeful activity to understand the world, truth, and life. Western perspective of philosophy means originated in Greece, known as Greek or Roman philosophy or Greek miracle. Greece provided the favorable conditions for philosophical thinking, geography, political stability, religious freedom, and cultural interaction. Aristotle stated that philosophy arises from wonder. Western philosophy developed thought. Ancient era Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, medieval era Christian philosophy in Europe and Middle East, modern era Renaissance after the 17th century period emphasizing reason, science, and individualism. Indian perspective. Indian equivalent of philosophy is darshana, Sanskrit to see. Seeing here means not just physical sight but intellectual insight into truth. Indian philosophy seeks direct realization of ultimate reality, origin found in the Upanishads and other sacred texts. Six classical systems represent Indian philosophical thoughts, that is yoga, Nyaya, Vedanta, emphasize, that is, highlight spiritual realization over intellectual abstractions. Comparison between the Western with Indian philosophy. Origin of Western philosophy is Greece, origin of Indian philosophy, India. Focus of Western philosophy, intellectual inquiry and logic. Focus of Indian philosophy is spiritual realization and truth. Goal of Western philosophy is love of knowledge and reasoning. Goal of Indian philosophy is realization of self and universe. Method of Western philosophy is argument and debate. Method of Indian philosophy is meditation, perception, and inner vision. Core concerns of philosophy. Nature of God or the absolute, meaning and origin and purpose of human life, ethical values and human behavior. Definition by eminent philosophers. Aristotle. Philosophy is the science that investigates being as being. Plato. Philosophy is the acquisition, that is, gain of knowledge. Hegel. Philosophy seeks knowledge of essential nature of things. Immanuel Kant. Philosophy is the science and criticism of cognition. Bertrand Russell. Philosophy is the logical study of foundation of science. Friedrich Paulson. Philosophy is the sum of total of all scientific knowledge. Branches of philosophy. Metaphysics, study of existence and reality. Epistemology, study of knowledge and belief. Ethics, study of morality and values. Logic, study of valid reasoning. Aesthetics, study of beauty and art. Philosophy of science, mind, language, politics, etc. Philosophy as active and discipline. Philosophy is both an active inquiry, discussion, and critical analysis. Discipline, a formal body of knowledge and theories. It challenges assumption and raises the standard from assertion, that is, claim, to argument. It is not static but a movement of thought promoting freedom from prejudice. That is by a Socratic philosophy. Socrates 472 399 BCE encouraged critical self-examination, believed an unexamined life is not worth living. Philosophy enables reflection, introspections, and rational decision making. Philosophy's value helps people develop broad perspective on life, encourage reasoned beliefs over blind faith and tradition, address moral, social, scientific, and political questions, enables society to justify policies, understand rights, and promote fairness. Conclusion: philosophy is an academic discipline and human activity that examines fundamental principles of reality. It is a comprehensive quest and knowledge through intellect, reason, and wisdom. As Francis Bacon said, philosophy is the great mother of all sciences. It embraces all aspects of human inquiry and helps unfold the truth of universe. Next, characteristics of philosophy. Knowledge of reality. Philosophy investigates the nature of reality, what truly exists, and beyond here, that is elevating appearance. Search for truth. Its central concern is to discover the ultimate truth about the world, human life, and existence. Dynamic nature. Philosophy is not static, it evolves with the time, encouraging critical thinking and the generation of new ideas. Flexible and contextuals. It can be traditional or progressive depending on social, historical, and cultural context. Relevant and practical. Philosophical ideas are applicable to social problems, human behavior, and moral dilemmas, that is, problems. Conceptual, that is, theoretical, and interpretative, that is, explanatory process. It involves logical reasoning and interpretation of the universe and human existence. Modifications and behavior. It helps guide human actions and moral decisions by offering ethical and value-based reasoning. Intellectual realization. That's an Indian philosophy emphasizes direct realization and perception, that is awareness to see not with the eyes but with the intellect, that is mind. Spiritual insight. Relationship between Atma, soul, and Paramatma, that is Supreme Soul, is explored deeply in Indian traditions. Process-oriented inquiry engages in continuous thinking, rethinking, questioning of assumption and intellectual gymnastics. Scope of philosophy. Definition of scope. The scope refers to the total area of inquiry and reflection that philosophy covers. That is, it's a virtual unlimited. Francis Bacon view. He called philosophy the mother of science, emphasizing its foundational role in all disciplines. Areas included in the scope: nature of matter, life, time, space, evolutions, interrelation between mind and universe, ethical dilemmas and moral reasoning, systems of knowledge and methods of knowing, ever expanding domain. As human civilization grows, so does the scope of philosophical inquiry, always adapting to new questions and challenges. Branches of philosophy. Epistemology, study of knowledge, its origin, limits, certainty, and types. Rationalism, reason, innate ideas, with empirism, that is sensory experience. Metaphysics, study of being, reality, appearance with reality, existence of God, soul, afterlife. Ethics, study of values and morality, what is right, wrong, justice, duties, etc. Logic, study of reasoning, structure of arguments, deductions, inductions, validity, and proof. Aesthetics, study of beauty and art, what is beauty, taste, creativity, and emotional engagement with the world. Other emerging subfields: political philosophy, philosophy of science, philosophy of mind, social philosophy, philosophy of language, and environmental philosophy and philosophy of religions. Values of philosophy: intellectual freedom, free the mind from prejudice and conventional beliefs, encouraging openness and curiosity. Deep thinking, encourage individuals to think critically about the life's fundamental questions. Practical relevance helps in forming ethical viewpoints and making rational decisions in complex situations, broadens perspective, enhances one's understanding of different viewpoints, cultures, and belief systems. Social application useful in evaluating public policies, laws, social behaviors, grounded in moral reasoning. Educational significance essential for disciplines such as law, politics, education, science, and literature, philosophy, and personal growth. Promotes self-reflection and introspection, that is self-examination, helping individuals find meaning and purpose in life. Bertrand Russell's view, philosophy is a valuable not for the definite answer it offers, but for questions it arises. Indian with Western philosophy. Root word for Indian philosophy, that is darshana, to see or perceive, that is sense. Root word for Western philosophy, philosophia, love of wisdom. Focus of Indian philosophy is spiritual realization and self-awareness. Focus of Western philosophy, rational inquiry and logical thinking, that is analysis. Method of Indian philosophy, intuitive, experimental, meditative. Method of Western philosophy, analytical, deductive, empirical. Goal of Indian philosophy, moksha, that is liberation and self-realization. Goal of Western philosophy, knowledge, truth, moral understanding. System of Indian philosophy, 6 orthodox schools, many heterodox traditions. System of Western philosophy, branches, epistemology, ethics, etc. Relationship between common sense and philosophy. Common sense is the foundation of philosophical knowledge. Development path, common sense, scientific knowledge, philosophical knowledge. Common sense is based on experience and local observation. Philosophy refines it using rationality, logic, and interpretations. Philosophy is a systematic and goes beyond cultural and superstitions. The difference between common sense and philosophy. Points of difference. Definition of common sense based on observation and day-to-day experience. Definition of philosophy based on logic, analysis, and reasoning. Purpose of common sense, no fixed purpose. Purpose of philosophy seeks to understand deeper truths. Certainty and logic of common sense, uncertain, incoherent. Certainty and logic of philosophy is certain, organized, logical. Superstition of common sense is often culturally biased. Superstition of philosophy free from superstition and impartial, that is unbiased. Relationship of common sense not the basis of philosophy. Relationship of philosophy, foundation for philosophical development. Challengeability of common sense changes with time, place, context. Challengeability of philosophy, permanent and universal. Scope of common sense, limited to external world, covers both natural and supernatural worlds for philosophy. Scope. Relationship between philosophy and science. Similarities, both are systematic and critical. Both seeks the truth, both use observation, reasoning, and analysis. Philosophy analyzes the scientific results and assumptions. Sciences influence philosophy, and philosophy guides science. Spiral of scientific method. Nadir method, observation, data collection. Assumption point, hypothesis formation. Genetic point, theoretical formulation. Descendant point, application to specific cases. Back to Nadir, that is the cycles repeats spiral pattern. Science without philosophy is a body without a soul. Philosophy without science is soul without a body. Difference between science and philosophy. Method of science is observation, experimentation. Method of philosophy, critical analytical analysis and logic. Use of instruments in science. Yes, tools, labs, data. For philosophy, no uses reasoning only. Scope of science, specific fields, examples, biology, physics. Scope of philosophy, in entire universe existence. Cause analysis of science is material and efficient cases. Cause analysis of philosophy also includes final cases. Nature of knowledge of science is empirical facts. Nature of knowledge of philosophy abstracts reality and meaning. Approach of science, predictive and practical. Approach of Philosophy is interpretative and value-based. Outlook of philosophy is beyond space and time. 6. Eternal truths beyond the physics or physical world. Collective and development aims at uplifting all humanity. Search for life's reality, expose meaning, beauty, truth, and God. Guides to salvation, that is freedom. Health transcend, that is rise above the material world through wisdom and reflection. Already we see the main branches of philosophy, that is epistemology, study of knowledge and its source, limits and nature. Metaphysics, study of reality beyond the physical world. Logic, study of correct reasoning and arguments. Ethics, study of moral values and human conduct. As aesthetics, study of beauty, art and taste. Other social, political, religious, environmental and analytical philosophy. Brief description of core branches. Epistemology, meaning episteme, that is knowledge. Logos, study questions. What is knowledge? How do we know? Is it reliable? Method, sense, experience, introspection, inference, and reasoning. Involves understanding, judging, experimenting. Metaphysics, meaning meta, beyond physics, nature. Focus, ultimate reality, God, soul, creations. Goes beyond what science can explain. Example is what we see truly real. Example, pen stick, that is illusion in water. Logic, meaning logos, it is reason. Deals with rational thinking, right with wrong, truth with falsehood. Support judgment, understanding, systematic thinking. What is ethics? Study of morality. Ethics is fundamentally the study of morality, that is ethics and human conduct. Branches of philosophy. It is a branch of philosophy that deals with how human ought to behave. Concerned with action. Ethics focus on actions and behavior of individuals within society. Moral values and standards. It examines moral values and the standards by which one should live or behave, aiming to determine right and wrong actions. Moral philosophy. Ethics is often termed moral philosophy because it investigates the basic principles that govern human action in terms of good, bad, or right or wrong. Normative science. It is a normative evaluative science guiding human behavior based on thinking influenced by principles like interpretation, symmetry, impartiality, local variation, and osmosis. Origins of the word ethics comes from the Greek word ethos, meanings, customs, uses, or habits. Aristotle's contributions. The concept of ethics originated in Greece with credit often gives to Aristotle. Moral is from Latin. The word moral is derived from the Latin word mos, also meaning customs, use, or habits. Nature of ethics. Science. Ethics is a systematic body of knowledge. Normative science. It is a normative science because it deals with the ideals and establishes norms of human conduct, aiming to guide what humans ought, that is, should to do. Science of ideals. Ethics focus on ideals involved in human conduct, evaluating actions based on ethical norms of standards. It evaluates human actions. It assesses the human actions are right or wrong, good or bad, based on established rules and aims. Not a practical science. Ethics provides guiding principles but does not explicitly, that is clearly teach how to do something in a practical sense. It's concerned with the means to achieve ideals, not an art. Unlike art, which focus on skill acquisition, that is gain, ethics is based on the motive and intrinsic goodness of actions. Scope of ethics. Subject matter. Its scopes include its own subject matter, focusing on moral ideals and goodness in human conduct. Moral consciousness. It emphasizes the contents and problems of moral consciousness, such as motives, intentions, and voluntary action. Societal important. Ethics studies ideals and values crucial for growth and progress of human society, examining the relationship between individuals and society. Resolving conflicts, that is classes. It helps in resolving conflicts of human interest and behavior by providing a framework for moral excellence. Branches of moral philosophy. Moral philosophy is broadly classified into three distinct fields. Metaethics investigates the origin and meaning of ethical concepts, statements, attitudes, and judgments. Ask abstract questions about how we understand about right and wrong. Normative ethics aims to establish moral standards that regulate right and wrong conduct, seeks to identify single moral standard or purpose. Moral pluralism, that is variety with multiple standards, focus on finding good or bad habits, duties, or activities. Applied ethics examines specific moral aspects of various social activities and controversial issues, that is, abortion, animal rights, environment concern. Use conceptual tools from meta-ethics and normative ethics to resolve these issues. Moral judgments and reactions. Cognitive factor. Moral judgment is the main cognitive factor in moral consciousness, involves the institutions of moral standards and evaluation of voluntary actions as right or wrong. Voluntary habitual actions. Moral judgments are typically given on the voluntary and habitual actions of rational being. Conformity to standards. An action is judged right if it conforms to a moral standard or idea, and wrong if it conflicts with it. Active and social. Moral judgments are active given, that is, given on voluntary acts, and socially interconnected as human actions as affect others. Obligatory, that is mandatory nature. Moral judgment accompanied by sense of duty. Moral application, which is essential, self-imposed. Reasoning is logical, deductive, inductive, abductive, that is hypothetical, and critical thinking is crucial in forming moral judgments. Comberg moral development theory, develop levels of moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg theory, that is 1950s, outlines three levels of moral development. Pre-conventional morality, focus on self-interest, punishment, and reward. Conventional conformity, adherence to societal rules and expectations. Autonomous moral principle based on universal ethical principle. So MCQ, what is the literal meaning of word philosophy? Art of living, science of reasoning, love of wisdom, study of society. Correct answer is love of wisdom. The word philosophy comes from the Greek word philosophia, means wisdom. Meaning is love of wisdom. Which branch of philosophy deals with reality and existence? Epistemology, metaphysics, ethics, aesthetics. Answer is metaphysics. Explanation. Metaphysics explore the nature of reality, existence, and what lies beyond the physical world. Who said an unexamined life is not worth living? Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Immanuel Kant. Correct answer is Socrates. Explained. Socrates emphasized critical self-reflection and argued that living without philosophical inquiry is not truly living. Which of the following is not a branch of philosophy? Logic, geography, epistemology, aesthetics. Geography is correct answer. Geography is the natural science, while the listed others are core branches of philosophy. What is focus of ethics in philosophy? Beauty and art, origin of life, moral values and human conduct, scientific invention. Correct answer is moral values and human conduct, because ethics deals with questions of right, wrong, duties, and moral values. What philosopher defined philosophy as science that investigates being as being? Hegel, Aristotle, Bertrand Russell, Kant. Correct answer is Aristotle. Aristotle's definition of philosophy centers on study of existence in its moral, most fundamental form. What is Indian equivalent term of philosophy? Vedanta, Darsana, Upanishad, Yoga. Correct answer is Darsana. In Sanskrit, Darsana means to see or perceive. Reflective philosophies emphasize on insight and realization. What is the main difference between science and philosophy? Philosophy uses experiments, science uses logic. Philosophy uses empirical methods, and philosophy uses reasoning. Science is abstract, philosophy is practical. Philosophy is always probable, science is not. Answer: science uses empirical method, philosophy uses reasoning. Science is based on observation and experience, while philosophy relies on reasoning and critical thinking. Which branch of ethics investigates the meaning of ethical terms and statements? Applied ethics, meta-ethics, normative ethics, legal ethics. Correct answer is meta-ethics. Meta-ethics deals with analysis of moral language, meaning, and foundation of ethical concepts. According to Kohlberg, what is the highest stage of moral development? Punishment or obedience stage? Autonomous moral principle, conventional conformity, instrumental relativist stage. Correct answer, autonomous moral principle. Explained in this stage, moral reasoning is based on universal ethical principle beyond social approved and punishment. Which branch of philosophy studies the nature and scope of knowledge? Logic, metaphysics, epistemology, aesthetics. Correct answer is epistemology. Explanation: epistemology examines the nature, source, limit, validity of knowledge. What is the key feature of distinguished philosophy from the common sense based on culture, based on logic and reasoning? Changes with context based on emotion. Correct answer based on logic and reasoning. Explanation: unlike common sense, which relies on experience, philosophy use systematic logic and rational analysis. According to Indian philosophy, what is the ultimate goal of life? World knowledge, moksha of fame. Correct answer moksha, liberation. That is, Indian philosophy emphasizes spiritual liberation or moksha as the ultimate aim of human life. What philosopher described philosophy as the sum total of all scientific knowledge? Kant, Russell, Friedrich Paulsen, Kegel. Correct answer is Friedrich Paulsen. Paulsen viewed philosophy as encompassing all scientific domains in a unified intellectual pursuit. What is major method used in philosophy for testing ideas? Voting, critical reasoning and argumentation, emotional response, random guessing. Correct answer is critical reasoning and argumentation. Explanation: philosophical thought progress through logical debate, critical analysis, and reason argument. Which of the following best represent a synaptic view of philosophy? Specialization in chemistry, viewing all aspects of reality as interconnected, memorizing religious text, following ritual blindly. Answer is viewing all aspects of reality as interconnected. Philosophy takes a broad, unified view of all aspects of life, knowledge, and existence. Which term describes the philosophy ability to question and interpret ideas across disciplines? Options are passive thinking, imitation, interdisciplinary reflections, technical accuracy, answering interdisciplinary reflections. Philosophy explores light between different fields, echoing assumption and offering unified insights. What makes philosophy a normative science? It deals with the fixed nature law. It describes ideal of human conduct. It's avoids evolution. It relies only on experiment. Answer is it describes deals of human conduct. A normative science like ethics guides what we are to based on to do based on ideals, not just observation. What differentiates traditional from modern philosophy? Traditional use science, modern focus on metaphysics, modern includes social issues and scientific thinking, traditional support human rights. Correct answer is modern includes social issues and scientific thinking. Modern philosophy encourage with current issues like human rights, science, and justice beyond metaphysical themes. Which of the following is not a characteristic of philosophical thinking? Open mindedness, intellectual curiosity, blind obedience, rational analysis. Answer is blind obedience. Philosophy encourages questioning and rational, the not uncritical acceptance. What is the meaning of term ethics? Love of logic, custom of happy, knowledge of art, pursuit of power. Answer is custom or habit. The word ethics comes from the Greek ethos, meaning customs or habit. It later evolved to mean moral philosophy. Which of the following is not one of the three branches of moral philosophy? Meta-ethics, normative ethics, rational empirism, applied ethics. Answer is rational empirism. Explanation: rational empirism relates to epistemology, not ethics. The three major branches of ethics are meta-ethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics. What is the primary concern of applied ethics? Analyzing the meaning of moral language, establishing the moral theories, applying the ethical principle to real-life issues, studying evaluation of laws. Answer is applying the ethical principle to real life issues. Explain applied ethics focus on specific moral problems like abortion, animal rights, and bioethics. Which of philosopher associate philosophy with critique of cognition? Options are Aristotle, Plato, Immanuel Kant, Socrates. Correct answer is Immanuel Kant. Kant defined philosophy as the science and critic cognition, thinking and knowing. In Indian philosophy, the term darsana refers to logic, arguments, spiritual insight or vision, political theory, experimental method, correct and spiritual insight or vision. Explanation darsana in Sanskrit means to see, indicating deep intellectual or spiritual realization, not just physical sight. Which of the following best describes the normative ethics here? Describes our moral feelings, establish standards for right and wrong conduct, explains cultural rituals, study scientific method, established places standards for right and wrong conduct, explain normative ethics, focus on what we ought to do and seeks to develop moral principles and rules. What is the goal of Indian philosophy? Political power, scientific inquiry, self-realization and liberation, moksha, social dominance. Correct answer is self-realization and liberation. Moksha explains Indian philosophy aims to attain moksha or liberation from the cycle or birth and death. Thought self-realization, which ethical branches deals with analyzing the language and meaning of moral concept. Normative ethics, applied ethics, meta-ethics, social ethics. The correct answer meta-ethics explains meta-ethics explore the nature and origin of meaning of moral concept rather than the deciding what is right or wrong. Which of the following best explain pattern Russell's view of philosophy? Philosophy is the only useful when it gives definite answers. Philosophy is the study of political behavior. Philosophy is value for the question it arises, not answer it gives. Philosophy is foundation of chemistry and physics. Answer is philosophy is a value good for the questions it arises, not answers it gives. Explanation pattern Russell emphasize that real value of philosophy lies in the broad effective questions it encourages. What does Goldberg pre-conventional levels of moral development focus on social order and law, self-interest and reward and punishment, universal moral principle, group conformity. Answer is self-interest and reward and punishment. Explanation in the pre-conventional stage, moral decisions are based on why punishments are gaining rewards. Why is the philosophy considered as the mother of all sciences? It originated after science. It provides fundamental framework for all the knowledge. It uses laboratory. It only focus on the spiritual ideas. Answer is it provides fundamental framework for all knowledge. Explain philosophy addresses the fundamental questions that underlay all disciplines, making it the root of all intellectual inquiry. What distinguishes philosophical knowledge from the other forms of knowledge? Based on reliance and assumption, always practical approach, involves rational justification and critical reflection. Follows religious dogmas. Answers involves rational justification, critical reflection. Unlike faith or custom-based knowledge, philosophy seeks logical reasoning and critical evaluations. Which tool is central to philosophical inquiry? Microscopes, sensory observation, systematic questioning, tradition. Correct answer is systematic questioning, because questioning and dialogue, as in the Socratic method, are put to the philosophical process. What is the main reason to Indian philosophy emphasize introspection, avoids the reality, diagnose experience, focus on self-realization and inner truth? It believes all truth is external. Answer is it focuses on self-realization and inner truth. Explanation: Indian philosophical systems like Vedanta, Yoga promote inward reflection to realize ultimate truth. What is meant by philosophy as a process-oriented inquiry? It has a fixed destination. It memorizes facts. It continuously questions and re-evaluates assumptions. It repeats traditional beliefs. Correct answer: it continuously questions and re-evaluates assumption. Explained philosophy is a dynamic evaluating through ongoing critical thought and reflection. What does interdisciplinary nature of philosophy mean? It teaches arts only. It is separate from all science. It connects and critiques all fields of knowledge. It focuses on religious content. Answer is it connects and critiques all fields of knowledge. Explanation: philosophy overlaps with science, politics, ethics, arts, etc. by analyzing their assumption and logic. Which of the following best describe philosophical speculation? Blind guesswork, religious myth, rational and imaginative hypothesis about deeper truths, superstitions. Answer is rational and imaginative hypothesis about deeper truth. Explain philosophical speculation is a creative and logical thinking to explore what lies beyond immediate evidence. Is what way philosophy relevant to public life and governance? It is practical in politics. It provides ethical, logical frameworks for decision making. It ignores justice. It is only theoretical. Answer is it provides ethical and logical frameworks for decision making. Explanation. Political philosophy and ethics helps formulate fair laws, rights, and public policies. One. Why is clarity of thought important in philosophy? To make philosophy artistic, to ensure deep understanding and prevent confusion, to simplify superstition, to memorize religious content, and to ensure deep understanding and prevent confusion. Explanation. Philosophy aims to for clear, coherent ideas to properly explore and communicate complex truth. What does the concept of learning consciousness in philosophy refer to? Dream state, continuous awareness and reflection, temporary emotions, religious rituals, continuous awareness and reflections. Philosophy encourage consistent mindfulness, attention to life fundamental questions. Thank you. Full portion of module 1 philosophy and ethics completed. So other all modules are available as a PDF if you want. Fill the below Google form.